Hello everyone, what's up? Prince of Dean here with another review of Star Wars Andor. Today we are taking a look at the second block of episodes of Season 2. Overall, these would be episodes 16 through 18, if my math is correct, and I think it is. This is a lot of setup for the Ghorman arc of this season. It was kind of the Ghorman stuff was kind of teased in the last block of episodes, and in this one we really get a whole lot to do with Ghorman, and it's very, very interesting. I'll try to go episode by episode here, but I may end up jumping around just a little bit. I'll try not to. So first episode, we have another year time jump from the last time we saw our characters. Let's see here. Cassian and Bix are living in one of Luthen's safe houses on Coruscant, which seems, if I were them, I feel like that would be it'd feel a little in the lion's den, while also at the same time it's like, oh, they're never going to find us because it's Coruscant, it's so densely packed. So as long as they're careful, and we do see a lot of that where Bix is a little more relaxed about the whole thing, at least on the surface. While Cassian's kind of like freaking out the entire time. He's always got his hood up. He's like, oh, there's cameras over here. We just can't go take a walk in the park because there's cameras. There's cameras in the park. We can't go to the park. There's cameras. He's kind of freaking out about it. So it's interesting to see them try to kind of carve this little domestic life out for themselves on Coruscant while also doing secret Rebel Alliance spy missions. Then meanwhile, Cyril has moved to Ghorman to take control of the Department of Logistics or whatever there. And he's the head of it, but he's secretly Dedra's spy trying to figure out what's going on Ghorman. And he gets a meeting with the Ghorman Front, who were mentioned very briefly last season. I think Saw Gerrera mentioned them very, very briefly when he's rattling off like different rebel cells that are around the galaxy. So we see the Ghorman Front here for real. And then speaking of Saw, we also have him on Dakar, which I thought was a really cool tie-in to the sequel era stuff. And just kind of overall building the universe as a whole. It's like, yeah, Dakar was not just a resistance base. Like the resistance knew about it, so they made a base there eventually, but Dakar has had some sort of military outpost there for a while, because I really doubt the partisans used it either. Because every time we see the partisans, they're always in like some sort of different location where they hastily set up some equipment and kind of move into some established spot. So I wonder what Dakar was in the past to have this airfield just sitting there waiting on them. And it helps that it looks like the partisans are like one cargo hauler and like a half dozen X-Wings, and that's like all of them. It really is kind of interesting to see how small they actually are, or at least this. There could be more of them out there, but it is interesting to see this little pocket, because we know roughly the size of how big those freighters are, because that model of ship I'm pretty sure was first in Clone Wars, at least in canon. So we know that those are a decently medium-sized kind of freighter, and then of course there's like a half dozen X-Wings. So it's kind of interesting to see that the partisans are kind of actually a small group. I thought they were, going by what we saw in Rogue One, they were larger than that. But like I said, this could be like one section of them, and like they're split off from the rest of them because they're like the advanced team going to scout these sites for Rhodonium, which I thought was really interesting. That the partisans right now are trying to steal Rhydonium. For what purpose? I don't think we really know, other than just like maybe simple sabotage to mess with the Imperial supply line. But I feel like just getting one, it has to be something where it's like either they're trying to make bombs or it's for their own personal fuel supply. And they need to do this every so often to refuel their ships. Because I feel like jacking into one pipeline is not really going to affect the entire Imperial supply chain of fuel. So this must be like a thing of they're either trying to jury-rig bombs together like the Separatists did in the Clone Wars during the D-Squad arc, or they're trying to refuel their own ships. They may have said, but I could have missed that. That's the reason why they're trying to get fuel, but that's kind of what I'm guessing. But yeah, we saw a lot of Saw Gerrera this time around. He's in two of these 3 episodes, and getting more crazy, more paranoid. It's interesting to see like the evolution of Saw throughout all of his appearances, and now that we're getting really close to Rogue One, he is just kind of even even crazier. Like he kills that one guy. Whether or not he actually was a spy or not, we don't really know. I don't think it's really made clear. I think you could infer it either way. Either Saw killed him because he just wasn't confident in the guy's abilities, so he was a kind of a dead weight, loose end. Might as well get rid of him and justify the excuse by having 2 tubes plant a tracker on him. It's like, oh look, he was trying to alert the Empire. He had a listening device or whatever. Or he really was a spy, and Saw Gerrera was so paranoid he saw through the ruse and killed him. Um, and it was interesting that they threw the kid in there because what's his name, Will, because when he showed up in the first episode of this block, I'm like, who is this guy? Because they made him look just a little bit older. They aged him up just enough, and he was all dirty and scruffy, and he had just a little bit of a mustache. So I was kind of like, who the heck is this guy? I don't know who this guy is. It was just enough of a change, a drastic change from last time we saw him crying in the back of the TIE Avenger after the death of Brasso, that I was kind of like, who is this guy? And then like at the beginning of the second episode that he's in, I realized, oh, I'm stupid. It's Will. Okay, it's Willem. All right, I'm really dumb for not noticing that. Whoops. um, so yeah, so good job on the crew and the costume department and everything of making him look a year older when I'm sure some of these segments were filmed like back to back. It's like he could have like one day he could have been filming a block for this stuff, and then he could have gone and been filming on the Grain Planet the next day or the next week or whatever. So it's like good on the costume department for making him look a year older. It's like he really does. It's like at that age, 'cause he's what, a teenager. At that age, you really do change a lot in a year. So that was cool to see, because he's like what, 14 or 15 maybe in season 1. So by now he's like 17 ish. So it's like, and I can. So yeah, they did a good job aging him up, and Saw's maybe now radicalized him potentially, or at least to gotten him to start huffing rhydonium fumes, which is a interesting reason to kind of be. It's like, here's part of why Saw's crazy is that he's been huffing jet fuel for years. I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't expecting that as a plot line in Andor, but I'm not against it. Same thing with Bix taking some sort of stimulant. I don't know exactly what it's supposed to be. To like supposedly help her sleep, or at least that's the excuse she uses. But then we never really see her sleeping after she takes it. It looks like she's just hazed out of her mind, like watching really bad daytime Coruscant TV, which it's like, I love that. It's like, I know this is kind of a similar thing with Skeleton Crew, where I know some people don't like obvious one-to-one comparisons to real world and Star Wars. Like they prefer it to be more fantastical and everything. But the stuff like having Star Wars Suburbia in Skeleton Crew, and then having now daytime like talk show TV on the HoloNet or whatever on Coruscant. I don't hate that. I like that, because and they always put a Star Wars spin on it. So I think it works. I think it's good. Especially it's not like that these are going to be like main feature things. It's like okay, so we got 35 seconds of seeing what Coruscant daytime TV looks like, and who knows when we're going to see that again. Like I really doubt that in 3 years time we're going to get Star Wars daytime Coruscant TV, a Star Wars story in theaters. It's like that. It's just a little thing for the background. It does in the big picture. It doesn't really matter. But it's just kind of a cute little thing, and I like it. So let's see here. Talked about Saw Gerrera. I liked all that. It's hard not to like Saw Gerrera as a character, even when he's a very complicated character, which is why I always enjoy seeing him show up. His little speech about like being a kid on Onderon and being forced to work in the labor camp or whatever, which presumably this was pre-Clone Wars when this was happening, I'm assuming, because Saw in Clone Wars and early Bad Batch, he strikes me as being like late 20s, early 30s there. So I'm assuming that him in this work camp or whatever is him as a, he's saying, he's like, oh, I wasn't much older than you are now to Willem. So I'm assuming that whatever was going on there was some sort of political unrest, and it was definitely like pre-Clone Wars that this stuff was happening. It was kind of the beginning of Saw's radicalization. And I think a key to knowing that it was probably pre-Clone Wars was the fact that they do mention that he mentions that when there's a Rhydonium leak, like even the guards run for it because they can feel it before they smell it. It's like battle droids would not. It's like they would maybe have sensors that would recognize a leak and they'd go, "Hey, this is gonna blow up. We need to get out of here." But describing it that way is that you could feel it before you could smell it and everything. It's like the guards running for it even. So yeah, it definitely seems like some human prisoners. Human jailers. So Onderon seems just like a very interesting place, and I would be very curious to know kind of the political history of the planet more, because at least in canon, I don't really think it's been covered much more than like in Clone Wars, and that's about it. So, yeah. Let's see here. So Cassian's big job this time around is, like I said, going to Ghorman, meeting the Ghorman front. I love the moment in the second episode where he gets to Ghorman and he's in the cafe, and the Ghorman front liaison, or whoever she is, like meets him like hours earlier than what was planned. And so he's kind of like, "What are you doing? You're being stupid. Also, the people tailing me, super obvious. Everyone can tell. Send them home." It's like it's showing that at this point he's a really well developed spy, and these people kind of have like not much idea of what they're doing. They're kind of flying by the seat of their pants a little bit. There's not much operational security going on. So I like those details in him. And them not really liking him, like, they're like, "Hey, here's our plan. Aren't you proud of us?" And he goes, "I mean, you could do it, but I think it's not a great idea for you to do it. But I mean, whatever, you do you." And I thought, especially the one remark between the Ghorman front leader and Cassian, him saying, it's like, "Well, you're not much of a revolutionary, are you?" And then Cassian gives him this look. Cassian gives him this look that it's very brief. It's very brief, but I was like, oh my gosh, like he just said 1,000 things with that one look. Diego Luna is just, and this is why it's like whenever they announced that there was going to be an Andor show, I'm like, okay, I'm down for that, because like there's in Rogue One there's several like subtle things that Cassian does, in certain moments, where that things that Diego Luna does to portray certain emotions that Cassian's going through, that I kind of recognize those, having seen the movie so many times. And I'm like, okay, yeah, it's like there's definitely more depth to this character that they could definitely explore in the show, and here we are, we're getting it. So but yeah, that look he gives the Ghorman front leader, and it's and then he just, it's definitely you have no idea what it is to be a revolutionary. It's like, it's like, because this guy's kind of been in a privileged spot basically his whole life. He's never really wanted for anything. He kind of, there's a little bit of an arrogance to him. It's very French, which is funny that this place is clearly based on France. There's a little bit of an arrogance to him where it's like, "Oh yeah, we're not that big a deal. We're one of the youngest, spider silk shops in the whole plaza. It's only been around for 900 years as opposed to some of these others." It's like he's feigning some sincerity and humility there, when he's just being arrogant. He's like it's like flaunting the status of his shop. It's like how long it's been around and running the family and everything. And it's funny because those guys from like the Imperial Bureau of not corrections, but it's like whatever it was called, like basically they're the propagandists, and they're like the Ghormans are all kind of stuck up. It's like, well, they kind of are. That's not really a lie. It seems like to me. So I find so this guy, like I said, it's like he's coming from all this from a place of arrogance, and he recognizes what the Empire's doing and that it's wrong. And he's seeing the issues that are coming forward, and he's like, hey, we do need to do something about this. But it does kind of feel like a little bit that he's really that part of the reason he's really only taking action in any of this is because he recognizes it's going to hurt him more than other people. And he's like, well, I don't want to be impacted by this. So at least that's the vibe I kind of get from that guy. I don't know. I could be off on that, but he doesn't seem like completely 100% genuine, rah. He's definitely for the cause, but is he really for the cause for the right reasons? It seems like there's a lot of selfish reasons in there, more than just simple self-preservation. I want freedom. It's more like, well, I've got status and I don't want to lose that. So yeah, lots of interesting stuff going on here. It's the writing in Andor is just so rich. Even side characters have this. You kind of immediately get this feeling of kind of, you spend just a little bit of time with them and you kind of get a feeling of who they are and what they're about. Like the one guy, I don't even think I think he does say a few lines in English, but he's kind of like the short, squat Ghorman guy that is angry at the meeting, and he's the one that first puts his hand on his arm when people are trying to shush him. When the little council up there is trying to shush him, and then everyone's like, yeah, you tell him, and then they all put their hand on their arms as well. It's like, so is that like the Ghorman version of flipping the bird? It's like, no, screw you, I'm still gonna talk here. It's like, so that guy, he has, between the 2 episodes he's in so far, he may be in more going forward, but in the 2 episodes he's in so far, he has maybe 3 minutes of screen time, and just in that short little amount, I totally know what that guy's about and what he stands for. It's like, oh yeah, no, I totally understand. Just it's like it's definitely a showcase of very smartly utilizing your time, I'm forgetting the word. So basically time limit. That's not really what I was trying to say, but yeah, it's like, knowing how much time you have and using it very wisely. I think Tony Gilroy's doing a very good, and the other writers are doing a very good job of doing all that. Because I'm thinking to other Star Wars shows, because a lot of side characters you don't really need to know a whole bunch about them because they're side characters. They're there to prop up the mains for a reason, and even then, some of these characters aren't even side characters. Side characters are more important than that. Like Lonnie in the ISB, the mole in the ISB, he's a side character, and he's still pretty important. This arm on forearm guy from Ghorman, he's like a more of an incidental character. Like he's got like a first name, and that's about it. It's like he's not even a side character. He's like an incidental background player almost. So yeah, I'm very pleased with how they're treating all these characters, and you can kind of almost instantly get most of them. So yeah, coming to the last episode of the arc, the buildup of I love how this show works, and again, why I'm so glad they're dropping these in 3 chunks, because if we had to wait a week between each of these episodes, I think it would be torture. Because the buildup here is, between the first 2 episodes, is good, and it's like it builds itself up very well, and then that 3rd episode is like, now I was reclined in a recliner watching this, but had I not been like just sitting on a couch or a regular chair, I think I would have actually been basically on the edge of my seat the entire time, because that third episode is so tense, because there's like 3 different setups from the prior 2 episodes going on. At least 3. That they've set all this stuff up. And then you see it all playing out, and it keeps jumping back and forth between the 2 different events. You know, like the Senate parties and stuff that Mon Mothma and all the other senators have to go to, and people from within the Imperial ranks and all that. Because like Director Krennic's there. So you've got that going on. Then you've got the heist on Ghorman going on. And then you're focusing on those 2 main things. And then you've totally forgotten that, oh yeah, Luthen's little signal light went off. So that means Cassian and Bix have an assignment. So what's their assignment? Oh, they got to go kill Dr. Gorst, because Lonnie let them know about that. So the cut between, because you know something's going to go wrong, because Cyril's watching the Ghorman heist the entire time. So it's like, is he going to call in reinforcements and spoil it all at the last second? Is that the plan? Is that what they want to happen? It doesn't seem like that's what the ISB wants to happen, but is Cyril going to get trigger happy and make it happen anyway? So what's going to happen there? So you know something's going to go wrong. I thought it was going to be like a random stormtrooper would be patrolling and then start a firefight. And then, no, that's not what happens. It's like one of the stupid, too proud to not follow directions Ghormans has a blaster there when told not to bring a blaster, and they accidentally kill Vel. Which was, it's like, I figured that she or Cinta probably were going to walk out of there. It's like, okay, they're having this reunion scene and everything. They're not both making it out of this. And so I thought it'd be like this big firefight or something like this. But instead, it was just like a simple little stupid mistake. And again, I think it really ties in well to that whole, these people are kind of just, this is like the first moment where they are actually going through with like actually legitimately fighting back. Everything prior to then has them just kind of been playing, and the Empire's kind of been letting them, because like protesting very publicly outside the Office of Standards or whatever, where Cyril works. It's like the only reason they're getting away with that is because the Empire is letting them get away with that, because it's part of their plan to eventually take over the entire planet. So the one guy smuggling a blaster onto the mission and then getting in that scuffle with Mr. Hand on forearm guy, and then that ends up what kills Vel, this very accomplished fighter and soldier, and then she accidentally gets shot in the back by some idiot kid. And them all suddenly feeling the consequences of it now. It's like, yeah, you guys have been playing revolutionaries. Now you're actually doing something to actually fight back, and there will be consequences. This is real. Grow up. And so it's like that again, that moment, it ties into that moment with Cassian and the rebel leader so well. It's like, you're not much of a revolutionary, are you? It's like, dude, you have no idea. So it's that whole build up and everything, it works so well. I think they did such a good job building that up, and the payoff. And it's like, and it's all really kind of small stakes, because it's really just this one small heist. It's not even as big as the Aldhani raid, because that was like, however, like 1 billion credits or whatever it was that they were stealing. And, there's stormtroopers shooting, and it's like this giant firefight. But this was much more subdued and everything. But for me, I actually felt more tense, because I'm like, something's going to go wrong. Something's going to go wrong. But the stakes are now so personal and small that it actually feels like the stakes are larger than something like the Aldhani raid, where there's much more people involved. And then at the same time, then you've got the whole, we've got to get the listening device out of this art piece, because some other stupid art collector passed off a forgery as the real thing. So now the guy we sold it to and have been trying to bug wants everything reappraised, and if he finds the microphone, that's going to be an issue. So it's like the No, move to your left. Now move to your right. It's like, do what I say. And it's like, oh, and then and like the thing gets stuck. And then she's turning it, she's turning it, and she's turning it, but it's not budging. And her hand is bleeding, and it's like she finally did get it out. But it's like, oh my gosh, it's like I was rocking back and forth going, oh my gosh, the tension's killing me. And then they just kind of walk out of there calmly. And then they're like, you know what we should have done while we were up there? We should have killed Director Krennic, because that would have been great to top off the whole evening. And then I think what was a really interesting detail is kind of establishing the idea that Mon Mothma and Director Krennic are definitely involved to a degree. Like, they are very familiar with one another at this point, because Mon Mothma has been like dragging him before Senate hearings and stuff in different tribunals, kind of accusing him of a bunch of shady stuff, and none of it has stuck because he's in such a high position that the Empire's made sure none of it has stuck. But she knows he's up to no good and is trying to uncover that he's up to no good, but it's not working. So that frustrates her, and he's smug about it, but at the same time, he hates her with a burning passion. You can tell, because he's like, this lady keeps finding out stuff about me somehow and keeps dragging me in front of these Senate hearings to try to investigate it, and then we have to cover it up again. So it's like, so he clearly sees her as not just a thorn, but like a huge giant cactus in the side of the Empire or something. And like, he's playing nice and being polite, and she's doing the exact same thing. But you can tell in their eyes that they despise one another, and if their eyes were many Death Stars, the other would be disintegrating before everyone else's eyes. So I really liked that exchange of them going back and forth and trying to be polite, but it not quite working. You could tell there's animosity between the two. So that was really cool. I really liked that. It was a connection I wasn't expecting. I didn't really expect them to really, for all I knew, this could have, and kind of what maybe not necessarily expecting, but kind of maybe thought would happen, is if they meet at this party, that it's like, oh, Senator Mothma, are you acquainted with Director of Special Projects Orson Krennic and stuff like that. I was kind of assuming something like that, but no, they've met, they've gone back and forth across the across the law table, so to speak. So yeah, I really liked that. So yeah, a really good trio of episodes here. I don't really think I have like any critiques or anything to say really about this batch. Last batch, like there was maybe, it's like, this maybe ran a teensy bit slow or something like that. But no, I have like no notes about this batch. I'm pretty happy with how this is all turning out, and it's very gripping and engaging television, and I'm very glad that we can get something like this. It's like, on occasion when you're pumping out so much content, you're going to get something like an Acolyte, but that doesn't mean that something like Andor can't also come out and be amazing. So yeah, very excited to see where we continue with this show. So that will be it for the review of these 3 episodes. Join me next week where I will look over the next 3 episodes and what I suspect will be the fated Ghorman massacre that we've heard so much about. And really quick, side note, I do like that they are still canonizing the original EU Ghorman massacre, where Tarkin crushes a bunch of people with his spaceship, and they're just calling that one the Tarkin massacre and saving the Ghorman massacre for when probably a bunch even more people die. So I like that. That's a nice little touch for EU nerds. But yeah, so yeah. Other than that, I don't think I have really anything else to say. So thank you for watching. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, all that great stuff. Remember to follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Those links will be in the description below. And I'll see you guys next week. Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.